So, what is trauma and how it's affecting you? If you think you have no trauma, you are probably seeing yourself as somebody strong, but you could have trauma. So I'm going to explain about what is trauma and the different ways that you could be experiencing the effects of a trauma and not even know it. So, if you had any experience of abuse and maybe you witness this abuse, you don't have to have experienced the abuse physically yourself, but you could have been a witness to this abuse. An example is your mother being abused, your father being abused, your brothers or sisters being abused, your grandmother, anyone. Which, by the way, everybody thinks, or most people, not everybody, but most people think, I would say on the average, people think that when you talk about domestic abuse, it's usually men abusing women. That's because it's reported. Most men would not go to the police and report physical abuse, domestic abuse, because they feel they are going to laugh at them. You know, you're a man. How can you, why be abusing you? But this abuse, it happens. And I have known of people that have been abused. And when they try to leave, the woman resort to doing crazy shit. Like, this man was telling me that he basically lost everything to the wife, and I'm not going to say too much, you know, but she called the police on him. He showed me his ID, he showed me all the stuff. He was a very smart guy. He had a good job, an engineer, and he was 2 daughters with this woman. When he tried to leave her or something. I don't remember the whole story, but she banged her head on the wall. And then called the police and said he did it. And he went to jail. And he spent time in jail. And I've known of people that have told me that they accuse a man. And I'm thinking, wow, these people they definitely need help. But at the same time, men tend to get in a relationship with a woman for her looks, you know, the physical attraction. They don't investigate too much. They discount themselves a lot. Men discount themselves a lot, and women too. So abuse comes from both men and women. They abuse each other. In any case, your mother could have been abusive to your father, or your father abusive to your mother, or it doesn't matter. You witness this. And if you experience this even, well, it's a trauma. Trauma is trauma. Now, you may go on with your life knowing you were abused. There's also abuse that the person does not remember. Okay? They don't remember. They black it out. They just don't have any memory. And when you work with these people to bring that memory, to the right side of the brain, to the right hemisphere of the brain. They'll have convulsions. They have, yes, they you got to be careful not to do it yourself. And if you're doing it with somebody, you got to know what you're doing too. So I heard of it, well, different stories, but in any case, but even if you remember, you still could be being traumatized. You have to be traumatized because when you're a child, you see things differently that when you're an adult, right? In any case, it could be affecting you. And it could be, we are experiencing a shift, and in this shift, one of the things in this shift, one of the experiences is to face trauma. We're going to face our traumas so we can fix them, so we can start a clean slate. So that's what is happening. So if you're feeling fear, different things will happen. And I can give you a list of the things that would happen that is related to this trauma. But things will start happening to you that you said, what the hell is going on? That's kind of weird. Why did I feel this? Right? You question that. And that's because you're becoming aware. And you're becoming aware of your traumas. And traumas are real. My entire life, I thought that there was such a thing as trauma. That I would hear about people going to therapists or psychologists, and I thought, oh man, it's just, they're weak. These people just, any excuse to just, they to have an excuse to not feeling well. And you got to leave the past in the past. I used to think that way. Now, very important to know that even now, me, myself, I'm not suggesting anybody does it. Nobody. Everybody got to do what they have to do. But me, myself, I would not go to a therapist. I would not go to a psychologist. I've been doing it myself. And we all have traumas. All of us, especially if you are an older generation. The younger generation have traumas too, but it's a different type of trauma. Older people, they do have traumas, big ones. But I wouldn't, and I can, I'll share with you things that I experienced. And I was feeling a lot of anxiety and panic attacks, and I was trying to figure out what the hell is going on. And I even tried, let me try the therapist. It didn't work. I tried 3 different types, and they told me there's nothing wrong with me. They'd give me a test in a computer. All of them give you a test in a computer. They said, nothing wrong with you. What are you doing here? And I was satisfied with that because I feel like there was nothing wrong with me. But the last few years, things have been happening, and I asked these spiritual, non-physical teachers, and they've been helping me. And it's actually trauma, childhood trauma. But none of these psychologists, none of these therapists, nobody could figure out, things that were happening to me. And so you remain in a state of dis-ease. It's not going to find anything wrong with you. Physically, doctors cannot find anything wrong with you. even psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists, they can find anything wrong with you. So there's a different things. One is the energy. If you're an empath, that's another video I'm going to do. It's about empath. What do you do if you're an empath? Negative people, are they negative people? Is there such a thing as negative energy? And I'll talk about that, because nobody can hurt you, right? But you could have a reaction to somebody else's energy. What about voodoo? Do people do voodoo? Does it work? That's a lot of topics I'm going to touch. So that not only these teachers told me, but my own experiences. And I know. Everything that I'm telling you is not, some of it is information that it was given to me by these teachers, such as family orientation, orientation and focus and family, what family you belong to, family alignment, family belong to, but I would say 80% is experience and information that I received directly from me as essence, because you are essence, you are divine, you are powerful. Don't make somebody else more powerful than you, smarter. And it doesn't matter if they are non-physical, physical, doesn't matter. I know people still like to discount themselves, and some people want to believe that there's a God that creates everything and punish them and give them rewards. If you are in my channel here, I'll tell you that I do not. I know there's no God. I know we create everything. And yet there's consciousness. There is all that is, which is powerful. But it's not hurting you, and it's not punishing you, and it's not judging you. And it's energy. It doesn't have a physical body. It's not a guy with a beard, because physically we image everything to the way we looked. So yes, I don't, but if you want to believe in that, that's fine. Some people need a God, and some people need the angels and the guardian that protects them. They need them. But if you come here to this channel and then you are not in the right channel, because there are a lot of channels where they talk about this and religion, and I find it fine. I meet a lot of people that are very, very religious, Christians, who I admire them because they follow that Christian guidelines to be a father and a mother and home, a loving home, and not to hurt anybody. So yes, I definitely admire these people that follow this, the Christian way of life. So, but do I pray to a God? No, but I do. What happened is, you get to the point where you know a lot and you have a lot of experiences and you're aware, and now the candles don't work, the angels don't work, the saints don't work. I used to do that. I used to light a candle to the saints in the church, light candles, and it would work. It actually worked. And then the more I worked with these teachers, the more aware I became, I realized it was me doing it. You understand? It wasn't the candle, it was me. And it wasn't these statues of angels, it was me. But I couldn't do it anymore. I tried and it didn't work. So I don't know if it's unfortunate. I think it's very fortunate, but at the time it's very, very frustrating and scary maybe that you need help and there's no help the way you think, because there is a lot of help, by the way. I receive an immense amount of help from these non-physical essences, but they're not doing it for me. You understand? They're not going to heal me. They're not going to cure me. They will show me how to do it. They will show me what I'm doing. That if I'm not in a state of ease, but they're not going to do it for me. And they never did it for me. They show me, because if they do it, how do you learn? Or you continue to do the same thing that is causing you whatever it is, physical pain or whatever it is. So you have to know what you're doing so you don't continue to do it. And that's exactly what they do with me. In any case, with the trauma, it's facing them. So let's say you have, you don't have to look for that trauma. Oh, what happened? What trauma do I have? No. You don't have to do it. I don't recommend doing it anyways. But let's say you have a fear of the police authority. And I'm going to tell you something. There are certain people, culturally speaking, that are more traumatized with the police than others. And so, and also gender. If you're a female, you probably have less fear than the male. Wait, somebody's calling? Okay. So right there is a trauma, right? And on top of that, if you had any situation from home with your father, let's say, with authority, because father is a authority, then it will compound even more. And if you were arrested for whatever, drinking and driving, or simply because you were driving too fast, it doesn't matter, and you have a bad situation with a cop, then it will add more. It will be compound more trauma on top of each other. So you could be living in a state of constant fear and distrust of the world. You don't trust the world. It's dangerous out there. And so if you want to do something, let's say you want to do videos, or you want to open a business, whatever it is that you want to do, there's always a constant fear of distrust, that they will come after me, that they will hurt me. There's a constant distrust. So is facing that. Is facing the fear. Let's say that I'm distrustful of authority, and let's say that I had a issue like I just mentioned, and now what happens if you don't face those fears, you don't face the trauma, you will start to get more things and more things and more things and more things that was causing you more fear and more fear and more fear. And I'm going to give an example, okay, in a minute. So you just have to face it, and you just have to just face it, say fuck it, because you'll continue to get more and more and more of the same until you face it. It's a bitch. Yeah, I know. I mean, I would rather just the traumas went away and people live the fuck alone and you live a good life, but it doesn't work that way. And I'm one of the, I know because I went through that, and it's a bitch, really. So I'm gonna give you an example. I was living in California, and I would be constantly getting tickets, okay? And they were mean, the cops, very mean, nasty. One time I just argued, because the way he just yelled and threw me out of the car because I was going too fast, according to them, and almost got me arrested. You know what I mean? So I was terrified because I had my child. My son was a baby then. So I became distrustful of the police, and then people would tell me stories, and I would be like, wow, these cops are out of control, what they do. So I got ticket through those red lights, Not because I was speeding, but because they just changed from green, yellow, red this quick, and the intersection is white, so by the time you get to the other side, they took a picture of you. And I didn't want to have to go to court and fight, because I was that trauma with the police and judges. I didn't trust any of them. So I just paid them and paid them until it came to the point where I couldn't pay them. I have to make arrangements to like monthly payments. And I would be so pissed that, I saw people that struggle. They have, you can tell by the way, they're people with no money. You can even say they are poor. They have no money at all. And you see them waiting in line and they have to pay that monthly payment to the government, for the red lights, whatever. And I said, you know what? I started to get really pissed. And I recorded. So I said, you know what? I know I don't want to fight these fucking people, and I just pay because I don't want to face that. I'm scared. But I'm going to have to face my traumas. I'm going to have to face my fears. So I recorded the same place where they gave me the 3 tickets in 1 week, by the way. And I saw how fast. It was seconds when it changed from green, it went green, yellow, red, like that. So I recorded it, and I said, you know what, I'm too afraid to go to the judge, because I know my idea was that he's going to go, no, you're going to pay. And when you have trauma, you think he's going to say, no, you're going to pay and you're going to go to jail. so you're like, fuck. But I said, you know what, I'm going to get a lawyer. I'm going to find a lawyer that works with me. And this lawyer, I found one that said, you can pay monthly. I said, oh, great. And it didn't cost me that much. But I didn't have any money at all. So I believe it was like $200. It was really cheap. And he said I can pay, maybe $300. And so what he did was a lady actually, she kept postponing the hearing date so that I could pay her, Well, actually, she worked for a company there, and so that I can pay them, right? So she said, okay, you're going to pay $100, but I'm going to postpone it so that your payment is not until another, 3 weeks or whatever. So I said, okay, great. And I told her to check for the cameras because they are too fast, And also in the intersection, there's a lot of homeless people asking for money and people on drugs in the street crossing. And on top of that is the entrance or the exit of a highway. So you have the exit of the highway, you have homeless people asking for money, and then drug addicts crossing the street, people on drugs crossing the street. And so now I have a lot of things, you know what I mean? You can't just go fast. So now I got to worry about the light, go really fast so they don't give me a ticket, but then I could hit somebody. Somebody that is on drugs don't even realize they just cross. So you have to watch out for them. I have to watch out for the guy asking for money that he might decide to cross, and the guy that is speeding, getting out of the highway. And I said, there shouldn't be a camera there. This is it's really risk. There's a risk that something will happen. It's detrimental. You shouldn't have one like that. So she said, cool, I'm going to work with this. And she went and found out what was the, what did she call it? She wanted the calibration. That's what she called it. So she wanted to know the calibration of these cameras and when was the last time and what was it. And she found it. And at that point, I had like 4 tickets, and it was thousands of dollars. And I went. I mean, I didn't have to go to court. She went. And dismissed all of them. Yeah, I paid her $200. I think it was two. I don't think it was. It might have been $200 because at that point I was really just paying these people tickets. I was going through situations like, well, you know, with the 2008 when, you know 2008. So I had no money. And here they're taking whatever the fucking money, just any way to make money. California has every corner they have these cameras. Then when I left California and I realized there are places where there's not one single camera. Actually, they're illegal in some states. You can't have a camera. And I don't know why California allowed this shit, but they did. In any case, that's a problem. But you see what happened? I have to face it. And after I faced it, that was it. I didn't get no more tickets. And I lost complete fear of the police and the judges and everything. At least in California, right? But then other things will come out. And my intention and my advice is not that you tackle every trauma you have, but if one of them keeps reappearing, it's time to fix it. It's time to face it and fix it and face the monster. That's what you got to do. Face it. Otherwise, it will get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. You'll become terrified. Other people can manipulate you. Is it your wife manipulating you? Is it your husband? I know of people that the husbands or the wife control them with fear. And for how long are you going to let it happen? How long are you going to allow this to take place? It is up to you. And let me tell you something. Fear is more than you think. If you live in fear, well, I'll talk about that. But fear is a very, very dense energy that it becomes intense and extreme. And if you're holding it and holding it and holding it, it would have to come out. Energy has to come out. You can't hold it for too long. And eventually it will come out. And now it will scare you. This is what you call demons. You hear of a person, a demon came and did this. Those are the demons. It's energy that you suppress, that you didn't express, that you held there. And eventually it came out. And it's the energy of fear. And it will scare you, terrify you. But it will come out. It will come out. And that's a very good video too. Once come out of you, is going to terrorize other people. It's like you farting, except this fart continues to give, But first it will attack you, and then it will go just it's an energy of fear. Okay, so what it does is create fear on other people. So just say fuck it. I'm not gonna be afraid anymore. Do whatever you have to do. I have many stories, instances where this happened to me, and I'm telling you, if it's you probably don't have just one trauma, you have a few. And with this shift in consciousness, you're going to have to face it. You will face all these fears. And I think what happened in 2020 was an example of this tremendous fear that many people experience. In any case, that's trauma. Trauma is something that happened to you probably when you're very young, that you didn't do anything about it. It was there, and it was triggered now by something. Something else will trigger that, and it will get worse. Anyway, have a good day.